Hello everyone, welcome to another Java video. In this question, we're going to be checking if a number is even or odd. We're going to take an integer input from the user and use an if statement to determine if the number is even or not, and we're going to print the message to determine if it's even or odd. Okay, so just like we've done before, we're going to create a variable as a string and grab it as user input. So we're going to say sc, that next line, like that. And then right here, we're going to ask them to input a number. All right. So we have an integer inputted. It's a string right now. So what we want to do is convert it to integer. All right, so first you want to create an integer variable. We're going to call it num, right? And then we're going to do an integer parse int, and we're going to take that input and semicolon there. We have a num variable that is integer from our string input. All right, now we're going to do our check if it is even, which is very simple. We're going to say if, we're going to bracket, and then we're going to do our curly braces. So our code block's going to go here, and this code is only going to be executed if this Boolean statement is true. So we're going to say if num modulus 2 is equivalent to 0, we're going to do system.out.println. We're going to say num is even, semicolon. And then if that was false, we can say else. We can say is odd. Because if it's not even, it must be odd. Okay. And that is our program. So let's test this code. We can say java c video a java. And then run java video 8. We're going to enter, let's say 12. 12 is even. Go to 13. 13 is odd. And that was our little solution for even number checker. Basically, if we take a number and do a modulus of 2, as in we're going to divide this number by 2, and if there's no remainders, we're going to know it's even because all even numbers are perfectly divisible by 2. Whereas odd numbers shouldn't have a remainder of 0 because they're not perfectly divisible by 2. Therefore, if this condition were to fail, we can go into our else and output the following, that num is odd. Okay. All right, in this question here, we're going to be solving the positive, negative, or 0 question. We're going to write a program that asks enter user number. We're going to do integer or double. So since we did integer last time, we are going to do double this time. And we're going to use an if statement to check if the number is positive, negative, or 0, and we're going to print the result accordingly. So here we go. At this point, we also want string. Input is equal to sc.next line. And then we want to do system.output. Enter a number. I'm going to say double. Num is equal to s double parse double. And we're going to parse that input to become a double. All right, and now we're going to write an if statement, an else if statement, and an else statement. We're going to say first, if num is greater than 0, well, we know it's a positive value, so we're going to say system out println num is a positive value. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Then we're going to go write an else if. We're going to say it's negative value if num was less than 0. And our final else statement will be the following, where the system out.println num is 0. Like that. Say that, hey, it wasn't positive or negative. It was actually right in the middle of it being 0. Let's test our code. Enter number. If we were to do 12, it's a positive value. If we're to negative 12, it's a negative value. If we're to give it 0, we get 0. Right? So this was an example of us having 3 potential pathways in our output based on these two conditions being true or false. If all of them are false, we go into the else. If the first one was false, but the second one was true, we get to say that it's a negative value. And if it was positive already, we'll get to say num was a positive value. Okay, and this is how we use if statements to compare numeric values. Okay, for this question, we'll be creating a traffic light simulator. We're going to simulate a traffic light system using if statements. We're going to ask the user to input the current color of the traffic light. And based on that input, we're going to print the action that should be taken, which is one of the following listed above. All right. So we're going to say system.out.println, enter the light color. And we're going to say string input is equal to sc. Well, we're going to use this. So we're just going to call it light. And we're going to say xc.next line. And we're hoping that we're going to get one of these values. Okay. And we're going to assume that. So if we're to say if, and do our normal brackets for an if statement, we can say if light equal red, we're going to output a message called system.out.println stop. And then we're going to need to do something like this again. I say else if. Don't forget to close your bracket. We're going to say yellow. It's going to be slowed down. And then we're going to have an else here, assuming that our other lights that are follow is going to be green. Assumes that light is now green. Okay. And then we're going to go system.out.println. We're going to output go. Okay. So let's run this problem. Okay, so we're going to enter the right light color of red. It stops. Yellow slows down. And green is going to be go. Okay, so there we go. To compare strings, we're going to either be using the method called equals or it's dot compares to help us compare string with a variable that we have. So you can't use the comparison operators that we can use for mathematics. The strings can only use these methods or the comparative methods to compare strings properly in Java. Anyways, thank you for watching. All right, we're going to do the BMI calculator and classification. So we're going to create a program that calculates person body mass index. So we're going to ask the user to input their weight in kilograms and height in meters. And we're going to use an if statement to classify their BMI according to the following categories. And we have our following categories right here. So let's start with our input. We're going to need height and weight. So we're going to say system.out.println, enter your weight and height. We're going to say this is kilogram, meters. Here we go. We're going to have string input 1 is equal to sc.next line. Say this is going to be the weight. And copy that over and change input 1 to input 2. And that's going to be our height. Awesome. So the BMI calculation is weight divided by height all squared. So we're going to try to get a value somewhere around here. All right, so the BMI calc. It's going to be, well, first of all, we need to convert these. So we're going to say that we're going to have doubled because just we're doing a division and double is going to work better. We're going to say weight is equal to double parse double input 1. And then we're going to do the same thing for height. Just change a couple of values here. There's H, input 2. Now we have our respective weight and height objects as double objects. Perfect. Now we can do our BMI calculation. So we can say double BMI is equal to weight divided by. So we can say weight divided by. And we're going to have height squared. So we're going to do math.py. Height all squared and put a semicolon there, and we have our BMI. Now we're going to do BMI classification. All right, so we're going to say that if and write our brackets out. We're going to say if BMI is less than 18.5, they're underweight. So we're going to say if BMI is less than 18.5, go to system.out.println. Let's see. It's underweight. And we're going to copy this. And we're going to say else if BMI is greater than that, but it's below 24.9, so we can say that BMI is greater than 18.5 or equal to, and BMI is less than 24.9. We're going to be not underweight anymore, but we're going to be normal weight. Semicolon. Okay. The third condition is the overweight, where it has to be 25 included all the way to 29.9. So we're going to include 25 and go from 29.9. It can't be 29.9. We're going to be a overweight. Okay, copying this over because we have very similar conditions. We're going to be at obesity if our BMI is greater than 30. So we can say BMI is greater or equal to 30. Delete everything. We can say they are reaching obesity. Okay. So that was our code. We get to classify our BMI description based on our weight and height after doing the the calculations for BMI. We utilize the math.power here, and we're going to use double-based division. So let's see how this works. BMI. Oh. Should be like that. And it should be not and. We should be using the ampersand. Perfect. I was coding way too much Python this weekend. Awesome. It compiled. So we can say video 08. Okay, I'm going to say that I weigh 60 kilograms and I'm 175. Oh, 1.75. Right, we're at normal weight. There we go. All right, in this section, we're going to be calculating the age category. We're going to develop a program that asks the user to enter their age as an integer, and we're going to determine if they are in the category of child, teenager, adult, or senior. All right, and we're going to try to use if statements to determine which one of them, those classifications they fall into. So as always, we're going to go system.out.println, enter your age. Then we're going to go string. Input 1, or just input in general, is going to be equal to next line. Okay. Then we're going to do our data conversion from double to or string to something that we can use. So we're going to use integer in this case because it doesn't seem like we have any like 0.5 groups. When I say int age is equal to integer parse int, and then we're gonna throw in our input variable here. So we have now converted our string input into an integer while using that code. Perfect. Now we're gonna be putting them into 4 bins. So we're gonna say if bracket start our braces properly, and then we can say that if age is greater or equal to 0 and age is less than or equal to 12, we can definitely say that this person is a child. Like that. It's exclamation mark. Boom, done. Now what we can do is copy this over. Right, put an else if statement, and we can say that if the age is greater than or equal to 13, but it's less than or equal to 19. So we can say this person is a teenager. Okay. Another else if statement here. Okay, now we're looking at 20 is a 64 after that, so we can do 20, 64, and then we can say this person is an adult. And then lastly, we can have the seniors. We can say else if 65 and older. So if it's going to be greater or equal to 65, we can say this person is a senior. Okay, so let's run this code. Oh, once again, you don't want to use and, you want to use double ampersand. That means and. Okay, so if I was to say 22, I'm an adult. If I was to say 15, I'm a teenager. Okay, we got the teenager part. 22 was an adult. Let's try 66. That's senior. And 13 to 17, let's try to get a teenager out. So let's say we're going to be 15. And this person is a teenager. There you go. Our edit's now being fixed. Okay, so that is it for this video. We looked at many solutions for a problem. If you have any questions, please let me know anytime you have the chance. Anyways, I thank you so much for watching and stay classy.